Got this Lofoten by Dickinson heater. It's pretty cool. Picked it up off Craigslist for a whole $100, so couldn't kind of pass that up. It's in pretty good shape. I'm going to go ahead and rebuild the little compressor here. Sorry, get that out of the way. When you yank this all apart, it seems to be working, but I don't know. The burn pot, you're not going to be able to see it in here, even if I had a light, I don't think. Let's see here. Sorry. So it's, it's carbon buildup, it's got gunk in there, it's been used. Nothing looks real damaged or bad though. I mean, it's got soot, but nothing major. Overall score, I mean, these are about, $1,000. I'm going to add the hot water to it. I just need the stainless steel coil, so you drill 2 holes in the back and put that straight in there, and then that'll allow you to have hot water also. And it has a cast iron cooktop that goes in it that I just don't have in it right now. That's in the oven right now. Actually, I'm sprayed down with oil and then I seasoned it so that it doesn't rust anymore. It looked pretty good, but it was a little rust on the inside. No seal in here for the edge of this. I'm not sure if it's supposed to or not, to have like the asbestos seal or whatever the heck that stuff's made out of. But yeah, I'm excited about it. This is I couldn't find anything online about these stupid stoves, so this is probably the first YouTube on Lofoten by Dickinson. I'm going to mount it up a little higher. It'll probably be, I want the working surface to be about this high, so I'm going to mount it a little bit higher than they say. And I'm going to put on a 2 to 3 gallon stainless steel diesel tank that'll be gravity fed, so that'll have to be up above it someplace. And I'm going to run piping from there to a 12-volt pump to my gas tank that'll allow me to just flip on the switch. It'll fill that little tank when I want to, and then I just turn the switch off. So I don't have a lot of diesel in the cabin and no real danger of anything going crazy. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and rip this apart. I'll probably put you guys on a time lapse. We'll see. Alright, so I've got the main control guy yanked out. I've got the fan yanked out, nasty, dirty. It is the Canon fan. I don't see any dates on it. The only marking on the regulator is 3D, big 3 and a little d. Or what's it? Capital D, but it's a smaller size D. And I don't think that's a good sign. I think it's supposed to be marked with like a C if it's rebuildable. So I'm guessing there's a gasket in here, which I could probably make from gasket making paper, but I'm gonna take this apart because this is all filthy. So this is $159 if I need to buy a new one from Dickinson. I do not want to do that. I don't know what's in here. Probably just a little float carburetor deal. I can hear it moving, so it's probably usable, but I don't want to have issues with this thing going forward, so best to find out about now. I definitely don't want to invest $159 in that part, but we'll see what I can do. So looking in here, I don't know if the burn pot is made of stainless steel, which is kind of stupid if it's not. I don't know why you wouldn't make it out of stainless steel, but I can tell there's quite a bit of rust up near the top nozzle here. This was filthy. There was all sorts of junk in here, so that would definitely be a problem. Anything that goes in there can just drop straight down into the reservoir, and I'm not sure if there's anything more fancy than just diesel fuel is allowed to trickle into the bottom of this thing, and air and heat pulls it up. I think that's all there is to these systems. So getting a good draft and getting your supply getting your supply of diesel perfect is going to be paramount. So it's a pretty simple little setup. This is all kind of nasty. I'm going to go ahead and get a wire brush in that thing. I don't know if I have one, so I have to go buy one of those stupid things. But the carbon buildup in here is pretty substantial. I already broke off a ton of it, but I mean it's just caked on there. When I got it, there was a half-inch pile of debris in the bottom of this thing of just carbon. I dumped that out before I even walked off from where I bought it. But yeah, and it may be stainless steel, maybe just it rusts up, or it looks rusted, but hopefully it's stainless steel, because that's pretty annoying if it's not. And if it's not, then it would be nice to have a removable bowl, and I haven't seen anybody offering that, so these things probably last forever then. That's what I'm hoping, since I'd like to get some use out of it. But so far, it's looking real good. I've also got the, I think it's kind of cantankerous. Set this down there. I've also got this guy here, which I think each one of these is for 12 volt, 12 volt, 12 volt. So I think they have this on a 32 volt system. I think I get to get rid of all this crap to make it work. I'll see about that. I don't know what this is back here. Yeah, I don't know what that little plastic piece back there is. But yeah. So far the only thing I'm real concerned about is this inlet here, which I'll make sure I clean that really good. Cleaning the fire, whatever you want to call that, the lower combustion chamber. I don't think there's any combustion down there. There's the air area of it. I need to re-straighten out the super burner, whatever the hell this thing's called. So, and these are made out of stainless steel now. I saw them for like 32 bucks, but again, I'm gonna do this as low budget as possible. And there's a weird kind of, almost looks like somebody burnt styrofoam in the bottom of this thing. I don't know what that is. And this may be stainless steel too. That's what it looks like now. I don't know. But yeah, overall looking good. Just need to clean. So I'll get back to you guys once I'm done with this. But all right, so pretty simple. So we got a piece of some kind of material that basically just works a little needle in there. Seems to be flowing good. And basically all you do with this guy is you're just going to adjust the rate of flow by the spring pressure here and pushing down. I'll try to do that. Oh, so this just plugs up the flow rate on the bottom, I guess. I hope that's not rubber. Got a little weird split in there. I guess that's how they meter it. It's this little tiny groove there. I don't think it's split. I surprisingly see no rubber O-rings. None. I was expecting some, but I guess not. So, I don't know. Alright, so it looks like we got our set screw here, which is like itty bitty Allen wrench. And that's gonna lock it in so it won't go any further. And then this guy is our stop, I guess. Not real clear on that, but I don't see any major damage here. And another surprising thing is I don't see any gasket on this, so I guess it doesn't need much because it's gravity fed, so there's not any pressure in the system. 3 to 4 psi, I think, is what they say maximum. So I guess I'm going to take this upper part apart, check inside here, make sure nothing's in there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting some blow through, but I'll check the needle valve there too, make sure it's good. It probably has a little rubber tip on it, might need to be changed out. It looks like what you basically use to meter like a two-stroke engine. You know, it's just a pretty simple setup. I'm almost tempted not to take it apart. Okay, so there's one rubber O-ring right there, and it's still rubber. It's always a good sign. I don't know how old this stove is, but it looks old, but maybe it's not as old as I think it is. That rubber should be trashed if it is, or maybe somebody replaced it. Everything here looks pretty damn clean though, so that will clean out all the debris down in here. You don't want any of that in your stove. It's not going to burn it. Also, I guess these things are really finicky on water too, so you don't want water burning in with your diesel. So sometimes they put a separator on them. I don't think I'm going to worry about it because I'm going to have a really short throw, and I'm going to put truck diesel in it, so I'm not going to be getting sketchy diesel most likely. We'll see though. I might change my mind on that in the future. And I looked up fuel tanks. They're expensive. So I'm going to Goodwill, and I'm going to look for a stainless steel kerosene bottle or fuel bottle for like MSR. I know they make some, and I just need a bigger thermos type thing that's not a thermos. I mean, it needs to be one of those stainless steel water bottles. That's all I need to hold diesel, I think. So I will look around for something that might work that way. Maybe even remove the inside of it and just recap it, so there's no styrofoam or anything weird inside it if it is a drinking bottle. But I'm not paying 160 bucks for a dang fuel tank, or 150. I've seen a lot, but I'll keep looking on Craigslist though, because I'm optimistic somebody has a go-kart gas tank or a sandrail gas tank they want to get rid of. But it has to look pretty nice because it's going to be in the cabin, mounted on the wall. Regulator, I just unscrewed the main screw. There is no lock screw on that I could find. Unscrewed just fine. They might have something to keep it in the cap there though. These two are your adjustment screws. So this little guy had a washer on the bottom of it underneath your, right here goes on the main screw there that screwed this into the stem. The stem screws right into it and rides right against it underneath. Sorry. So watch out for freaking Craigslist. They really suck. Use Craigslist, you give your number out, and you're going to get these stupid calls from then on. There's too many freaking jerks on Craigslist. It's kind of ruining it. It's too bad. Offer up too. Watch out for it. I've been getting a ton of them after looking for these stoves. This guy wasn't bad, but the other guy that I've been dealing with, it's a total scammer, I think. Won't give me his address, trying to buy something from me. He keeps giving me the runaround, and then he tells me he lives 5 hours away. Well, great. Yeah, back to the process at hand here. So basically just unscrewed the top there out of the regulator. Just comes right off, not a big deal. Unscrews from there. There's one little washer. And then it's got one clip that holds it in there. One little flat washer here goes on over the clip to hold the spring in place. And that's about it. It's a straight through pipe. It's got a little cut in here, looks like for metering. So this is probably the fuel you use, goes right through that, I'm guessing. And then got a little hole up on top. And yeah, pretty simple there. Float is going to come right out, looks like. Or not, don't speak too soon. Okay, so the pen pulls right out for the float bowl. Float bowl comes out, needle comes out. No spring on the needle, which is different. Usually there's some kind of a return valve. And that looks just spanking good. I don't know if you can see that real well. But there's not even a little bit of debris on there. And then, yeah. Optimistic about that. So your set screws here, the little one is one making this little trough right there, riding back and forth. And that's your adjustment for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It slopes down. So I imagine that would change after time or the more use you got of this thing. So watch out for that while you're using it. And the other one is the stop. So this keeps me from going any further. Hits the little ledge right there. And then as I turn it back the other way, they both drop down in here and they click in. That's off. So they've dropped down. So basically I'm going to pull it up and then I'm going to twist it around for it to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's one, there's off. So pretty simple. I don't see anything crazy about this. I like to know how this stuff works before I go out and use it. If I was in a boat, especially, I'd be tearing this stuff apart long before I got out there. For RVing, what I'm going to be using it for, I don't want to get stuck in the middle of the winter. Dang. With no heat out in the middle of someplace either. So I also thought that it might be an interesting thing to burn firewood in here. If you could figure out a way to... don't steal this idea, dang it. But if you do, send me your first prototype at least. You could put in maybe some fire brick or something else down here to cover the burn pot, get a cover for that, stainless steel maybe, and then you would just have basically a little firewood stove here, and you could probably burn firewood in this thing no problem, as long as you got airflow into it somehow. Wouldn't be that difficult, but yeah, so that's pretty gummed up in there. There's that oil in there, so first bit of evidence of actual diesel fuel I've seen in this thing. And I noticed that there isn't any Teflon tape on any of these joints. So that's a little different. I would have thought you would want tape in all these, and I think I'll put them back in there, but the only thing I'm going to do before I do that is read whether or not it's good for diesel. Maybe diesel eats through it and I just don't know that. We'll see. But yeah, there's some buildup in here, a couple places, but I think this thing would have ran just fine if I would have never touched it. How long would it have run fine? I don't know. But be real careful with this thing though, because if you break these off, you're done. These little legs, that's the end of that thing. So once you're trying to get the rest of this off here, this last fitting is going to be difficult, I think. And 8mm bolt will take the rest of that jet out. Oh, and it's barely tight in there at all, so that's nice. And it's got some kind of little seal up in top. Brass with a rubber, maybe rubber on the far end of it where it meters out the fuel. And it is a tiny hole, let me tell you. These things are supposed to be running about 2 gallons or less a day in super cold weather. So I don't know if you can see up in there. Hey, probably can. So yeah, tiny little, looks like rubber O-ring maybe there. I'm going to try to get this piece off, but I'm not going to force it because I don't have much to grab onto. Yeah. Well, you see in there too, I guess if you can. So there's a little bitty section in there. Looks like plastic on half of it. Neither of these come out. I don't see any springs anywhere, which is cool, other than the one main spring. Looks pretty close to idiot proof, but we'll see, huh? I'll test it thoroughly. And maybe that's why they don't put any Teflon tape on this stuff too, so it doesn't stick up, so you can actually get it back apart, because you probably need to clean this every few years, I would guess. And so far everything's come apart pretty easily. Oh, look at there. Okay, so this was the inlet. Look at that. I hope you guys can see in there. That is a little mesh screen for filtering. It is totally caked up. So this is why I took it apart, I guess. I would have never got this thing to run well with that gummed up screen. So if you're taking yours apart, that's where you want to make sure you get to. It's in the inlet area. It's right where the fuel comes in. It's going to have that little screen there. Looks like it's a stainless steel mesh screen. It's pretty small, but it's gummed up plenty good. Cool. So this top area is a little funky. I don't know how to deal with that, but I'll get in there and get that out. Yeah, that's that mesh screen. I don't know how it's going to come out of there. And I don't want to mess with the other side with the rubber very much either, so I'll get back to you on that. I might have to go get it in. Little tiny tweezers or something to get in here and pull that mesh screen out of there. This little itty bitty thing is your needle seat, which I just dropped, and I have no idea where it went. Just kidding. So that little dude has got an indent on the back side with a little, I don't know, just a little indent on it. And then the front side, the side that goes down into the reservoir, is flat. There's a little tiny hole in it. So my needle is just going to come in there and basically the needle is going to come in there and stop the flow or unstop it. That's it. That little tiny rubber guy there. So hopefully they still sell that. Now the other part here, up inside here, is a little copper disc in there where that little dude just pushed right into and sits in up inside there. Now the downside is that this screen here, that is dirty as all get out, is not removable as far as I can tell. There's nothing on the outside to remove it. There's no way to unscrew it. Looks like it's cemented in there. So I'm going to have to clean this part thoroughly, get it up inside here. So I remove that little bitty tiny rubber guy. That'd be the most important part there. And you can see he fits right into the top of this guy perfectly. So that's probably how they get it in there. It might come in just like that, and then as the needle pushes in there, you know, it's pushed up against that other washer there, so it can't go anywhere. So that's your whole system right there. Pretty simple. And I don't see anything here that's worth $159, so I shouldn't have any problems as long as I can get that screen clean. If not, I drill it out and put in a new screen. That's worst case scenario, but I'd rather just clean the screen and degunk it somehow, blow it out with air. This whole piece needs to be cleaned anyway pretty good. And there's nothing else in here that's rubber. I'm not seeing anything. There might be something down in the reservoir, but all this is pretty caked in, gunky. So I'm going to clean this whole guy here with some super deep cleaner, and then everything else looks pretty good. I didn't see anything else that's going to cause a problem. Clean that part. Clean that part. And this. Yeah, cool. Thanks for watching. I'll put this back together. Probably going to Lowe's later today. I'm going to get some stovepipe for it. Super simple. Just cut it and run it right up there. I'm going to mount it for now. Well, it's going to go there permanently anyway. But I'm going to mount it up against the front wheel well. It's going to sit on the wheel well, which is steel, and raise, so I don't have to worry about my floor too much. I'll put in some insulation, and then I'll put on some cement board or something there on the bottom, but I don't think it really needs much in the way of protecting the bottom because the burn is up quite a ways from it. But the nice thing is that front window without the crossbar, and then the back windows, I guess I can just get up and take it down there. So it's going to sit right here where my little buddy is. The stovepipe's going to run right through there. So it's pretty much the only place in the bus that I have a gap for a stovepipe. So I need to drill or cut a hole right up here in the roof, and that will be that. Which is pretty scary. It's nice having a one-piece roof with no holes in it, and then some dumbass comes along and cuts a hole for a wood stove. Yep. Not smart. But that should warm all this up, make it pretty dang nice. But I would like the stove to sit right that high. And I need a 4-foot minimum run, but 5 foot's going to be perfect, I think. And that should get me right where I want to be. Not sure what I'm going to set it on yet. It needs to be setting kind of on something about this tall, I guess, and then that would set it up to about here. I want it kind of, you know, just a nice countertop size, so about where my hand gets to. So it's going to be right in that area for the top. Maybe a little bit higher. But yeah, should work good. And then also, caveat to this is where my diesel goes in. So I have a diesel tank right here in the middle of the floor. So I have very little ways to run for it, and I'll probably run the fuel line probably straight down, straight over to the wall for the fuel pump and go right where the nozzle goes to my fuel tank, run it along with that. The extra tank, though, needs to be higher than the regulator in the stove. That's it. Maybe a little bit higher just to give it a little bit of pressure that way, but I don't think so. I mean, it's all gravity fed, so theoretically, if I put the fuel tank right about here, you know, the tank sits right in that area, that would be quite a bit higher than the regulator, and I'm good to go. And that's right above the fuel anyway, so all my diesel's in one area. So I don't know, that's the idea. Thanks for watching, and I'll update once I get this thing back together, probably. I think you guys already know how to take it apart. Shouldn't be that big a deal. Pretty easy. If you got questions, leave them in the thing there. I'll try to answer them, but I am by no means an expert in anything.